Welcome to the J-Spot, the place where we stimulate the most sensitive parts of your brain.
And hopefully leave you with a little more clarity than when you arrived.
That is the goal. Today is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. And, if you're checking your calendar, yes, we are smack in the middle of Black History Month.
We are.
But I have to be honest with you, I'm a little tired of looking backward. Today, I want to look at the now. And even more importantly, the future.
It is a fascinating moment to be having this conversation. I mean, if you look at the stack of sources we've pulled for this deep dive...
It's a big one.
It is. It's everything from entertainment industry rankings to clinical psychological journals. It's clear we are living through a massive shift.
Or Renaissance, maybe?
I hesitate to use that word because it gets thrown around a lot, but yeah. I think it fits.
It fits.
It really does. We've moved past the era of, tokenism, the one black character on the team who stands in the back and maybe gets a cool one-liner. What we are seeing in 2026 is a diversification of genre. We aren't just getting superheroes. We are getting noir, cosmic horror, high fantasy mythology, and deep psychological case studies.
It's not just, here is a black superhero who punches hard. It's, here is a black superhero dealing with an existential crisis in space.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to unpack this explosion of content. We're going to look at the 2026 release slate that's dominating the charts, the indie scene that is literally rewriting mythology. And here's where it gets really interesting. A deep psychological breakdown of what these heroes tell us about mental health.
That last part is heavy. It grounds all the flying and laser beams in something very, very real.
It does. And we are going to give that the time it deserves. But first, let's look at the blockbuster landscape. We're looking at a ranking from Collider detailing the biggest superhero releases of 2026. And sitting right near the top, at number 3, is Lanterns on HBO.
This is a massive swing for DC. A huge one.
It is, but let's be real for a second. The Green Lantern IP hasn't exactly had the best track record.
Sure. That's putting it mildly.
So why is this specific iteration sitting at number 3 on a hype list? Is it just the casting?
The casting is a huge part of it. You have Aaron Pierre playing Jon Stewart.
And Aaron Pierre, the man has gravity. He's not just an action star. He brings this quiet, intense presence.
Exactly. And that presence is essential because, according to the showrunners, they aren't trying to make, a Marvel-style quip fest. They are describing this as a true detective-style cosmic thriller mystery.
Wait, true detective? So we're talking slow-burn, atmospheric crime-solving.
But with power rings.
Wow. That's the gamble.
That is the gamble. The inverse analysis in our stack points out that traditionally Green Lantern stories are space operas, big battles, exploding planets. This show is grounding the narrative. It's a terrestrial mystery that just happens to involve cosmic cops.
Which I think is a brilliant move for a character like Jon Stewart. He's an architect, right? His brain works in structures and foundations.
Precisely. And the inverse piece notes another crucial detail about the dynamic. In the comics, Jon Stewart's origin is often a solo journey, or heavily tied to his failure. Here, they're tweaking it.
How so?
They're leaning into a buddy cop mech with Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan.
Well, that's smart. So you get the friction. The veteran Hal Jordan and the new blood Jon Stewart.
It elevates the material. It stops being just action figure fights and becomes a character drama about mentorship, about generational clashes, and having a black lead in a prestige drama that just happens to be about space, that's a significant marker of where the genre is going.
Okay, moving down the list to number 10, but maybe number 1 in terms of pure weirdness, Wonder Man on Disney Plus Way.
This one is, it's unique.
It's Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Simon Williams. The buzz from Collider is that this could be the next big hit, precisely because it's experimental. It's a meta-commentary on Hollywood itself.
Which is a very difficult needle to thread. Simon Williams is a struggling actor trying to get a role in a superhero movie within the universe of the show. It's layers upon layers.
It is. And it's interesting that they cast Yahya for this. We've seen him do serious. We've seen him do terrifying. But this requires a satirical edge. Collider notes that while Marvel usually sticks to a formula, Wonder Man is them trying to, break their own mold.
It feels like they're trusting the audience. They trust that we can handle a satire led by a black protagonist that pokes fun at the very machine creating the content.
And honestly, 2026 is just stacked in general. We have Spider-Man, Brand New Day coming, and Blade is...
Don't Don't say it.
Blade is still listed as TBA on the Games Radar Plus list.
Blade will arrive when Blade is ready. We're just going to manifest that. But let's pivot. Because while the live-action stuff is grabbing headlines, something arguably more revolutionary is happening in animation.
I'm so glad you brought that up. We have a list here from Wikipedia tracking Black animated characters in the 2020s, and the sheer volume is staggering compared to previous decades. But it's not just volume.
It's the depth of the lore.
The depth, exactly. Yeah. Specifically, I want to talk about Eyes of Wakanda. This is dropping around now, late 2025 into 2026. The voice cast is insane. Enikenoni Rose is back. Steve Toussaint is voicing a character named Kuda. But what hooked me was the premise.
It's an anthology, essentially.
Right, but it's historical. It's tracking Wakandan warriors' characters like Bekai and Noni retrieving vibranium artifacts throughout history. It's not just Black Panther saves the day. It's what was Wakanda doing in the 1800s? What were they doing in the 1400s?
It's world building on a massive scale. It validates the idea that this civilization has existed and thrived long before the Avengers showed up.
But if we want to talk about true world building and shifting the center of gravity, we have to talk about Iyano, Child of Wonder.
Yes. This is the one created by Royo Coupe, and I think this is the most important project on the list for a specific reason.
It's not American.
That is the key distinction. For the longest time, Black superhero meant an African-American character operating in a Western city, usually dealing with Western problems through a Western lens. Iyanu is a paradigm shift. It is based entirely on Nigerian mythology.
It's Yoruba lore, specifically.
Correct. The source material mentions characters like the Fallen One and references to Olodumare.
For those who don't know, break that down. Who is Olodumare?
In the Yoruba pantheon, Olodumare is the supreme creator, the source of all things. So when this show references that, it's not just using magic as some generic plot device. It's tapping into a spiritual system that millions of people actually believe in and have practiced for centuries.
So it's not just technobabble, it's spiritual.
It's deeply spiritual, and that changes the stakes. The show features characters like Iyanu and Olori. They aren't fighting to save a bank in New York. They are fighting for the soul of a culture.
It's telling the listener and the kids watching that the source of magic doesn't have to be a radioactive spider in Queens. It can be ancient spirituality in Yubaland. That widens the imagination for an entire generation.
It decenters the West. And that is powerful.
Speaking of things that are distinct and authentic, we can't ignore the indie scene. We found this great write-up from Indie Comics Dispatch that shouted out Dope Girls Comics.
Specifically Afro Demon.
Afro Demon. Created by Black women, totally action-packed. And then you have Trill League by Anthony Piper. If you haven't seen Trill League, picture the Justice League, but mixed with hip-hop culture and anime aesthetics.
Trill League is brilliant because it captures a specific cultural vibe, the humor, the slang, the posture that mainstream comics often try to imitate but end up making look kind of corny.
They miss the mark.
They miss the mark. Piper gets it right because it comes from the community.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've talked polished HBO dramas. We've talked Yoruba mythology. But there's a dark horse galloping back into the spotlight in 2026. A very dark horse.
Indeed. We are talking about the Spawn Renaissance.
Todd McFarlane is not playing around this year.
Yeah.
According to CBR, the Spawn universe is expanding significantly. But the headline that caught my eye isn't Al Simmons. It's She-Spawn.
Coming in May 2026. And the writer attached to this is legendary Gail Simone.
If you know comics, you know Gail Simone. She wrote Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, Batgirl. She's famous for taking female characters who have been treated, let's say, poorly.
That's a kind way of putting it.
And giving them agency.
She's the perfect fit for this. She describes the character Jessica Priest, who becomes She-Spawn in a very specific way. She calls her a supernatural badass who drives a pickup truck and has a family cabin in the woods.
Wait, hold on. A pickup truck? In the Spawn universe?
Yeah.
That sounds surprisingly grounded for a series about hell demons in capes that are alive.
It is, isn't it? But that's the Simone touch. She says the tone is violent, a little kind, a little mean, a story with no seatbelt. It suggests the grit that feels very different from the polished, save-the-cat narratives we see in the MCU.
It feels like a return to that 90s edge, but updated for 2026. And CBR also mentions that the Jamie Foxx Spawn movie script is reportedly done.
Reportedly. That project has been in development hell for, a decade? But with this push in the comics and the expansion of the Spawn universe, it feels like McFarlane is finally building an ecosystem around Al Simmons again.
And honestly, we're ready for it. Sometimes you want hope, but sometimes you want vengeance.
It balances the palette.
So we have all these characters. We have cosmic cops, struggling actors, your be-heroes, hellspawns. But I want to shift gears to something deeper. Why do we care? Why does seeing a black man or woman in the suit resonate so deeply beyond just representation?
This brings us to the most significant document in our stack today. It's a paper titled A Wakanda Within Reach, Black Panther and the Mental Health of Black Men.
Right, from the Journal of Creativity and Mental Health by Felix Morton IV.
And this isn't a movie review, it's a psychological framework using T'Challa as a case study.
It's a heavy hitter.
It is. Morton argues that T'Challa isn't just a hero, he's a mirror for the mental health struggles of black men. He identifies a few core themes, but the first one is this concept of chronic responsibility.
The weight of the crown.
Right. The idea that T'Challa, and by extension, many black men are cast as these invulnerable pillars. They are the leaders of their families, their communities, their workplaces. They cannot rest. They cannot falter.
And the paper links this specifically to the contrast between different comic runs. It compares Christopher Priest's run of Black Panther to the Ta-Nehisi Coates run.
This is a crucial distinction. In the Priest run, T'Challa is the cool, unshakable strategist. He's always 3 steps ahead. He is the mask. But in the Coates run, he's deconstructed. He's unsure. He's struggling.
Morton calls this identity fragmentation, right?
Yes. The stress of code switching. T'Challa has to be a diplomat at the UN, a warrior in the jungle, and a king in the throne room. He is constantly shifting who he is to survive in different spaces. The paper argues this mirrors the stress black men face navigating predominantly white spaces versus their own communities.
It's psychologically exhausting.
It is. It's exhausting to maintain those different masks.
And this leads to what I thought was the most powerful image in the paper, the vibranium metaphor.
It is profound. We usually think of vibranium as the ultimate defense.
Absorbing impact while maintaining strength.
Yes. But think about the physics of vibranium. It absorbs kinetic energy, but the paper makes a chilling point. Vibranium doesn't make the energy disappear, it stores it.
And eventually, storage reaches capacity.
Which is where the metaphor for black men's mental health becomes dangerous. The paper argues that society praises the absorption, the ability to take the hit, to stay silent, to be the rock, but without a release valve.
The suit explodes.
Exactly. The stoicism becomes a trap. It becomes emotional suppression. You're absorbing all this trauma and stress because you have to be the strong black man. But if you don't let it out, it becomes a bomb strapped to your chest.
So what is the release valve?
Yeah.
The paper proposes a hero complex framework as a solution. It says you can be protector and protected. You can be strong and struggling.
It challenges the binary. It says you don't have to choose between being a hero and being human. You are both. But the key, and this is the most important takeaway from the study, is that you cannot do it alone.
Collective healing.
This draws heavily from the rise of the Black Panther comics. Wakanda isn't strong just because T'Challa punches hard. It's strong because of the council. It's strong because of the community.
Real wellness requires a Wakanda. It requires a support system.
Precisely. You cannot be a solo vigilante in your own mental health journey. That is a recipe for burnout. You need a team.
So what does this all mean? We've come a long way from the Reddit debates of, who is the most popular black superhero?
I was looking at that source in an archived Reddit thread from a few years ago. The list was so short. It was Storm, Blade, Static, Jon Stewart, Black Panther. That was pretty much it.
And people were fighting over scraps.
They were. And now, in 2026.
The list is endless. You have Riri Williams, you have Miles Morales dominating, you have the entire cast of Ianu, you have She-Spawn. We aren't fighting for representation anymore. We are fighting for complexity.
It feels like we've moved from representation to exploration. We are allowed to be messy, funny, scary, depressed, and triumphant.
We are allowed to be fully human.
Yes. Whether it's the cosmic mystery of lanterns or the grit of She-Spawn, these stories are allowing for the full range of humanity to be displayed.
And speaking of those doing the work of heroes without the vibranium suits, before we wrap up, we want to give a massive shout out to the educators around the country.
Absolutely.
In this difficult time, you are holding up the sky for the next generation. You are dealing with the chronic responsibility we just talked about, absorbing the impact for your students every single day. We see you. You are the real-world superheroes building the next Wakanda in your classrooms.
Well said. And honestly, it ties back to the central theme here. No one should have to hold up the sky alone.
So before we sign off, we'd like to leave you with something to chew on.
Based on everything we've discussed, especially that psychological framework, I want to ask the listener a question. The research asks, who makes up your Wakanda?
Ooh, that's the real question.
If superheroes are moving from solo vigilantes to community builders, maybe it's time we audit our own support systems. You might be absorbing impacts like vibranium, but who are you letting see behind the mask? Who is helping you carry that weight?
Think about it. Who is on your council? Because even the king of Wakanda needs backup.
Don't try to save the world alone.
The J-Spot is a J. Breyer Allen production, edited by Danielle Reyes and Josette Garcia. We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Stay heroic.